Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to the Dyson Sphere program, where our Dyson Sphere is coming along quite nicely, as you can see in the background here. There's still a lot left to be done. Let me get my HUD back and open up the menu. But as you can see, we're about half done with the structure points at this point in time. You can see what is and what is not built. There's a lot more that needs to go into this, a lot more carrier rockets being needed for this project, and we're a little less than halfway done on the solar sails for the cell points. And that's just kind of gonna be doing its thing as it does its thing. And as a result, we've actually lost a lot of our power capabilities because of the fact that we just legitimately do not have enough, like, solar sails. Like, you can see here the life distribution of the solar sails. This used to be, like, in the thousands, like, skyrocketed amount of these things. And these rings used to be just so full and lush, but as you can see, every single time that a new sail gets emitted into here, you can see it becomes this, like, blue thing and starts to travel toward the actual Dyson Sphere itself and get absorbed into the cell points, like you can see here. The completed panels versus the panels that are still absorbing, and you can see those blue bits actually being absorbed. So our satisfaction for our Dyson Sphere power demand is actually awful. And one of the things that doesn't exactly help with that is I started setting up some white science, which we're going to get into a little bit today as well. I just didn't want to do that off camera. So I have a bunch of ray receivers set up on Assad Astralis 2. That are currently creating critical photons, which are necessary for white science. I'll pull up the recipe here because I did the research off camera. But you can see that it requires antimatter and all 5 of the previous sciences in order to make one white science matrix. So in order to get that critical photon, in order to get the antimatter, we need critical photons, and it also produces hydrogen. And the hydrogen we're obviously going to have to get rid of, so we need to use these things, the thermal power plants, again. So, yeah, that's something we're going to get into a little bit later, but what I want to get into first is some large smelting designs, which is why I have this right here. So, large smelting designs, our current smelting designs are in the Mark I Planetary Blueprint tab, which, by the way, these are all in the description. I'll just pull out the copper one. But you can see here that this is 48 smelters, so this is 48 copper per second being made, because each one of the smelters does 1 copper per second. That's insultingly low as we move into our megaprojects and harvesting galaxies. So what I'm about to do right here is make a 30 per second design, but times 4. So 120 iron, in this case, per second. And we'll have the capability, thanks to the Interstellar Logic Station, to remote demand as well as local demand, so that we can harvest an entire planet or harvest other planets in a system, which is actually going to be super handy as we go into these larger systems out here. Like this one, the one that does the quantum chips and the Dyson components. Like, for the Dyson components and the quantum chips, those are all being done on these 2 planets, or at least that's the plan currently. We have 62% construction here. It's an oceanic jungle, so we don't have a ton of room, but on this planet is where we're going to do all of our smelting. And you can see we don't really have a lot of iron or copper or silica, and 0 titanium. Well, actually, we have a lot of silica. Never mind. But we'll harvest these planets and then ship the ore to this planet to be smelted in large volumes, and then ship them back to have further processing done, essentially. And then same thing here, like that 9 million iron will just go straight back to this second planet, which will be the smelting hub. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at. Also, yes, there is already a ring here. Off camera, I went to a bunch of these places that we're going to be actually harvesting and making stuff, and I set up my blueprints, and our localized solar sail production field is just giving them all over the place, which is exactly what we needed it to do. So, completely and entirely perfect, and I absolutely love it. So essentially the way that this is going to work, that's 5, and then 10, and then that would be 15. So that's 15 smelters right there, and I'm pretty sure it's just, yeah, 1 per second. So that's 15, which means we double that again, 15, like that, and then that's 30. So that whole row right there is 30 per second. And then we just do that a bunch of times and drag these guys the whole way down like this. You know, maybe this might be too much actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe instead of 30s and getting it to 120, we do 24. And then that'll be 24, 48, maybe 96. Or we could do 100 and just do 25. I think that might actually look bad, I'm not gonna lie. So now we have the 25, or at least it should be 25, of these guys. Yeah, 25, because the 26 is that one down there. We're good in that regard. And all we have to do, as per the normal, and I'll connect that a little later, is grab ourselves some sorter Mark 3s. Yes, I am going to use Mark 3s, even though they are expensive. I'm going to use Mark 3s because of the fact that those are what is, like, super available to us, and we don't really care about them being expensive anymore. And just grab the iron, copy, paste, and drag. And it's just perfect. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to make one for copper as well. We're only going to have one of each of these systems here because we don't need that many ingots back home. Like, back home our ingot throughput is still fine. It's just the fact that we are running out of ore in order to make the ingots. And I would rather process the ingots on a different planet and send them back so that we have more room for other processing, like more sulfuric acid, more titanium alloy ingots, stuff like that, because that's what we're actually lacking back on the homeworld. So let me go on ahead and fix this up. Oh good, it's raining outside. That means I have to go to class in the rain. Don't you guys love that? But yeah, I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna make one for copper. I'm gonna get it all online. And I'm also going to harvest each planet for stone, because it looks like we're about to run out of stone back on the homeworld of Asada Stralis as well. And I don't want to run out of stone, because if we run out of stone, you can kiss goodbye all of the sulfuric acid that I literally just said we're running out of. But yeah, I'll be back in a sec. So there is iron and copper, both done. There's the iron. These are very long, lengthy blueprints. There's the copper. Again, very long, lengthy blueprints. They're very large boys, and they're gonna stay very large boys because they're very efficient. One logic hub for 100 items per second. It'll only be 50 items per second when it comes to the titanium and the silica, sadly, but that's just because of the titanium and the silica recipe having 2 ore every 2 seconds creates 1 plate, so it's half the amount of time and double the ore for half the resources. Which is sad, but that's just kind of how the later game resource stuff goes. But these are both fully set up. They are both in my blueprint library here, as you can see, which is absolutely fantastic. I took out all of the, like, direct ore shipping here. which is good. That needed to be done, so I'll go collect this. Oh, there was another one. I didn't even know there was another one. Well, we're taking that one out too. Except I think we might end up keeping one of these logic stations around. Maybe we'll take this one and make it the stone, local demand remote supply. Because we need stone on our homeworld, and I need to set up stone being imported to our homeworld as well. And this will obviously need to clear itself out over time. It's not like it's going to do it instantly. And yes, the power grid is suffering, but that will start to fix itself once this fixes itself, because this is requesting a certain amount of power, and it's not actually being able to provide that much power, as you can see right here. But over time, that'll actually end up fixing itself and it'll be fine. Now I'm going to go around, I'm going to tap all of the stone nodes, because I'm sure that there are some stone, yeah, there's some stone nodes and stuff that I just haven't even touched on this planet yet, so I'm going to go grab those real quick, and then move on to the white science setup that I keep talking about. So I'll be back with that in just a second. So here's the setup that I have so far for our white science. I have a whole bunch of ray receivers set to critical photon harvesting, and I believe currently their max output is 2 per minute, because it won't say while they're in here, but I remember it saying 2 per minute once upon a time, and this is without graviton lenses, by the way. I don't have enough of them, and I don't feel like having enough of them for just some preliminary basic white science. So this is not the megaproject white science, this is just regular old white science. This is no big deal. So with the white science, with the critical photons come down here and they get processed in one of these machines, the miniature particle accelerators, because every critical photon every second creates 1 antimatter and 1 hydrogen, which means that each of these can process like 60 per minute, and we're getting 2 per minute from, I think it's 29 of these. So basically one of these machines could harvest all of these. However, I went on ahead and overflowed it myself, that way it would actually be able to. And then as you can see, we have the hydrogen splitting on the inner belt, which goes and gets dealt with in power. That it just gets burned. And all of our antimatter comes down here and will come to the labs. Now, I'm only going to be making 2 per second of this because of the fact that I don't really have a whole bunch of labs, and it takes 15 labs to make 1 white science per second. So we're just going to be making 2 per second, 2 sets of 15, 30 labs, which means we're going to have a stack of 3 like this, and we're going to have 5 of them in a row. And then the white science is going to be output on this belt. This logic station is going to be bringing in all of our other sciences from our home planet, and I already did set it to remote supply on the home planet. I'm just going to put it down to 2,000. I think 2,000 is a good spot, because once it gets down to 1,000, it's going to request another ship, and then that ship is going to travel here, and that'll be about the right amount of time. Go on ahead and make this all local storage, like so. These need to be set to white science, and they take 6 products to input, which means we're going to have, like, the purple science over here, and the green science over here, and then the the antimatter, not the critical photons. The critical photons make the antimatter. Then we're going to have the antimatter, and on this side we're going to have the blue, the red, and the yellow. I actually might change that to be the other way around. That way it's like blue, red, yellow, purple, green, antimatter, just in the way that we unlocked them, essentially. And then obviously we're going to need to have our inserters like this, and then our output belts like this, I'm gonna need to extend that momentarily. That's not what I meant to do, but it's fine. And then this one, and this one, just like that. And I guess now we just need to figure out how long this needs to be. So, wrong. I only need to take it to there. Which means I can get rid of the rest of that belt. And we'll snip these belts as required once we actually get there. I just want to measure it all out first. And I think I will make this a blueprint in like the late game automation tier of blueprinting. Just because of the fact that it actually is pretty handy to have. Just like a white science that you can put down. I don't know if I'll do the ray receiver part of the blueprint though, because that would require also re-blueprinting the EM rail ejector, so you guys can just set up the ray receivers however you'd like, and that'll work just the same. That's not going to be on a fault line, but this one is. That might cause problems, but it looks like I don't need to worry about it, because that one actually provides power to everything, except I think I'm going to do it differently. Of course, that's not going to work. Lovely. So can I put that anywhere back here? I can put it here. Put it up here and make it even? No, I can't. Alright, so put it there, and put the other one like here. Now we can snip our belts. Like that. And then we will need to, first of all, put more. Why? Why clipping? Was it really clipping with the orbital thing? Oh my gosh, it is. Clipping with the orbital. Gotta be. Alright, second time's the charm? No, awesome. That's fine. I'll just put it there, and then put this there. And then go on ahead and set this to remote demand, remote demand, remote demand, remote demand, and remote demand. That's all of our things. Goodbye. And then we need some actual labs for legitimate research. So, I guess go on ahead and put those like here. I'll just mirror the setup. I think that'll be a good idea. And then research, research. Ooh, proliferation. Something I just thought of that is going to actually come in super handy. So grab this, and we're proliferating this Mark III. Like, there is no way we're doing this any less than Mark III. Remote demand. Nice. And then I can just leave this as is. I don't need to do anything else with it. And then what we will do is we will put the proliferation straight onto the belt. Fantastic. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? What's wrong with the red science? Oh! Oh, I'm a moron! Oh my gosh, you guys have probably been yelling at me in the comments, like, Benji, they need to all go into the one. Oh, shit. Shit! I didn't even think about that. Okay, well that was a whole waste of time. I'm just gonna, like, fix it, and I'll be back. Sorry for the blunder. I hope that was at least entertaining. Oh boy. Okay, so essentially the new idea that I'm having is output it onto a belt like this, and that way we can have all of our input belts on the sides like this. And yeah, I know that looks a little odd right there. But just trust me. Autosave, of course. Just trust me. Because, yeah, it looks a little weird. But this way... Ugh. But of course, we're gonna have to do it backwards. It always looks gross in my opinion. Because otherwise it has the bend, and that's disgusting. And then this, we'll do the white science, and we can just smack a power pole, like here. And there we go, that works. So now, we can still do like a row of 5 of these guys. It's gonna be a little weirder to do a row of 5 of these guys. And then we can just stack them to 6, which is pretty nice. And let's see, what does it take? Can I put it here? I can put it there. Aha, I can put it there. Good to know. Very good to know. Go on the belt. Absolute dingus. There. Ah, but it didn't copy the stupids. There we go. Oh my gosh, and that's so bright. Oh, it's so bright. Oh, it's gross. Why is it so bright? I hate it. Stop. Stop. I hate it. Alright. Time to copy and paste some more. I'm gonna make sure that the belts are good. And then I'm just gonna grab it all the way to the back of the last belt so that I can do this. And that's 3, 4, and 5. And white science has been done. Minus that one belt I decided not to connect there. And now what we can do is just connect all of the white belt outputs. That. Make sure it's still raised until here. Not until there, rather. Just until here. Then drop it down. Bring it over. And we can have our proliferation there this time. Do that. And yes, that will proliferate all of the white science, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And now we can add our buffer, because yes, I want to have a buffer. Does this have power? It does not have power, so that's gonna look really, really bougie. Let's do that. And get rid of all of our belts, of course. All the unnecessary ones, that is. And all of my white science is working, except for this one. Why is this one not working? Just take the input belts, damn it. Why? What's this one's problem? It doesn't have any belts? Or inserters? Why? Why did it not have any inserters? That's so dumb. Oh, technical issues. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. Not even worrying. Slightest bit. Not at all. Okay, well that works. And then the proliferation Mark III can go back in there. All of the white science that I had in my inventory can just go on the belt and get proliferated. Because none of it was when I picked it up, or at least most of it wasn't when I picked it up. There we go. Now, ugh, it's so bright, but yes, you can see those are all proliferated, which is good. And we're just gonna want this to be the 5 again, just like we wanted it beforehand. It's just that now we have to do it like this instead. Ooh, that looks gross. Don't do that. Look better. There. And then research. Nice. And yes, sadly, you do actually have to click. You can't just click and drag with these ones. I don't know why. I'm not a huge fan of it, but there. There we go. And what do we want our first white research to be? Well, we could either do the mission complete and just beat the game right now, which, by the way, you can beat the game without ever constructing a Dyson sphere, because all you need is enough power in the ray receivers to get the critical photons in order to make antimatter. So you don't need a Dyson sphere, it's just faster with a Dyson sphere. So we could do this, or instead, we could do what I want to do, which is I want to go faster in warp. That's like the main one. I want to go faster in warp, very faster in warp. I do want faster engine speed, and these are infinite, so you can just do them over and over and over and over and over again. And they cost the same, they do the same thing, it's plus 50%. So at a certain amount of time, it's gonna not be as fruitful anymore, but still good. I want some extra drone flight speed. I want some extra drones. And then I want an extra amount of core energy. And I'll do another core energy after. And would you look at that? So this is 2 per second white science, by the way. Just to give you that sort of idea of what kind of capacity this has. This is 2 per second, because this is 6, 12, and then half of that is 15. 15 of those is 1 per second, and then it's another set of 15, so this is 2 per second white science being constructed. And the only reason why I didn't opt for 3 per second white science being constructed is because of the fact that I'm pretty sure I have 3 per second of each of the other sciences, and I don't know how many antimatter I have. I want to say I have enough antimatter to sustain 3 per second, but for right now, I didn't do any calculations. This is just rough estimation of, hey, this is enough white science for me. And it is. This is enough white science. It'll get us through the preliminary researches that I want to get done, and it won't really do all that much else. So that's all I'm really concerned about right now. That is all done. I will go on ahead and blueprint this for you wonderful people, because I know how much you appreciate the blueprints. Link in the description. I think I said that. White science. White science. And 2 per second white science. I'll leave the proliferation bit up to you guys, but there is the white science universe. They all have their own names, like the electromagnetic matrix, the energy matrix, the structure matrix, the information matrix, the gravity matrix, and the universe. They all have their own names, but come on. Like, it's just like Factorio. Factorio has its own sciences as well. It's got red, green, blue, yellow, purple, and gray, which people actually do call gray science military science, which is weird because they only call the rest of them blue, red, green, all the stuff. But yeah, I just call them by the name, and that's gonna be that. So that is gonna be it for today, actually. I am gonna have to make sure that everything is working properly in terms of like our mining operations. We are running out of resources pretty much everywhere at this point. Like everywhere I look, there's some kind of an issue with everything. Some kind of an issue with, like on this planet, we're running out of iron. On our home planet, we ran out of iron already. On this planet, we're also, it looks like, running out of coal, which means in the entirety of our little star system here, We've still got plenty of stone. Most of that is coming from right here. That's the 10 million. This has like a couple 100,000 on it, and then this one's got, you know, the 2 million. We are running out of silica by the look of it. We've tapped about half of the silica in the system. I could honestly tap this because it's only one node and it's currently not being exported from the world. The only thing being exported from here is the titanium, iron, copper, and stone. And then this one is exporting stone, silica, and coal, I want to say. I actually do want to take a look at this. Ah, no, I transitioned it all. Never mind. Yeah, I transitioned all of it into these silica constructors and the crystallized silica as well, so that they're actually no longer dependent on belts. The titanium back on Assad Australis 1 is still entirely dependent on belts. So look at all of that space. That space, amazing. Oh, I wish I could do more with that space, and maybe I can at some point with like smelting setups or something. I don't know, but man, I wish I could use all that space. But next time, we're going to get into the actual mega project once again. We've taken a little bit of a detour for the past 2 episodes. We did Proliferation Mark III, and we also did a little bit of expansion. But next time, I promise, we are actually going to get into these 2 systems here and start doing some good work. I don't know what I'm going to do first. I don't really want to do the deuterium processing yet. I feel like that's going to be an absolute pain and repetitive because we need so much deuterium and it's so hard to come by, but it'll be what it'll be. I think the first thing that I want to work on, in all honesty, is actually the quantum chips. Either the quantum chips or the Dyson components, and both of those are going to require a lot of smelting, specifically of the silica variety. That is going to be all from me for today, so thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Go away. Why won't it go away? Alright, whatever. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Please have yourselves all a fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later, y'all.